Hi, my name is Trina Davis. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm the owner of Notoriety Counseling and Training Services in Richmond, Virginia. It is April 2020 and it's Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I'm doing this video not just because it's quarantine and I don't have anything else to do, just because I wanted to discuss sexual assault, not because I'm a licensed clinician, because I'm a survivor of sexual assault as well as domestic violence. And I just wanted to kind of share my story. And this is more of a healing moment for me to move past my pain and kind of hopefully that by me sharing my story, that it allows someone else to be able to share theirs and to start the healing process. So I do want to say, by no means am I have statistics, and by no means trying to defame anyone or slander anyone at all. So I am going to leave names out of this video as much as possible. I do want to say to my mom, because she hates it, when I do discuss situations, she always says, why do you include that information? To me, I feel that detail is so much better than leaving it out, because it gives a clearer picture to the story. So with that being said, I just wanted to go ahead and begin. I have my notes here where I've been journaling, getting a lot of things off my chest, kind of starting the cleansing process. So, and I do want to forewarn anyone, if this becomes too much, please stop. Discontinue this video at any time. You don't have to go for it. Again, this is more so of me getting through this. You know, as a clinician, you know, I am not immune to any pain, to any hurt, to any trauma. I go through it too. And I have to also to seek help when situations happen. So with that being said, I just want to go ahead and kind of, share my journey. You know, my first encounter of being sexually assaulted or any type of sexual abuse was actually not with an adult. It was actually with other peers. I grew up in the housing projects of Richmond, Virginia. And again, this could happen anywhere. It doesn't necessarily happen in a particular neighborhood. But on this particular day, I was so excited because the neighborhood was quiet. I actually, counted my pennies and everything, found enough, money, and I wanted to go to the corner store. If you're from up north, you might say the bodega, and I wanted a ham and cheese sandwich. I know it's Ramadan now, so of course I don't eat ham anymore. But I wanted a ham and cheese sandwich from the bodega to the corner store, and I got enough money, and I was like, oh yes, I'm going. So I'm walking to this bodega, and the bodega was only 3 blocks from my house, and I'm walking. I yelled to my mom, hey, I'm going to the store, and she worked overnight at the time, so she was out of it. But I knew to hurry up, get to where I need to be, and get my butt back in the house. All my siblings, they were much older, so there was nobody there else that was in the home at the time. So they were out doing, what big brothers and sisters do. So while I'm walking to the bodega, I didn't see any of my friends along the way. I'm walking and I see this group of guys. Now, some of these guys I know because they're about my age, and we do attend the same school. But they were laughing and they were snickering, and it didn't feel right. And in my gut, it was like cross the street. So I crossed the street. And when I crossed the street, they crossed the street too. Now, younger back in the day, I felt, I was athletic, I was a tomboy. So, hey, if I'm going to run, I'm going to run. If we're going to fight, didn't know how to fight, but, not going to let you I'm not going to be an easy one. But this particular day, I didn't understand what was going on, but I just didn't feel right about it. So I kept walking and I was like, hey, and I kept walking, and the next thing I know, I'm being touched. And it's not like, hey, I was being touched on my butt. I was being touched and groped in my vagina area. I didn't have any breasts, but they were trying to feel there too. And I'm knocking their hands out the way and like, don't touch me, leave me alone, stop, literally saying stop. And there's no adults around. And I'm just, trying to get through, and I can just see the store. The store was like 200 feet in front of me, and I'm just trying to get there, and I'm just praying that somebody to come out and, just see this and make it stop. Well, eventually I get to the store. And I kind of feel somewhat safe, and I continue to get my order my ham and cheese, and I'm like, okay, I'll just block it out. You tell someone, they're not going to listen to you. Or they're going to say, oh, they're boys being boys. And, but if it's a girl being a girl, she's fast, she's grown, frisky. We got all types of derogatory names for girls being girls, but it's just boys being boys. So I got my sub. I was really excited about it, and I ordered my extra pickles on the sub. So I loved extra pickles, so I was excited. So I was blocking it out because at this point I was in my happy place. I got my sandwich, and I was in my happy place. So I saw the boys come in the store, and I figured they weren't going to bother me while I was in the store. So I diverted down the aisle on one side because it's a small neighborhood. You have two aisles. You had the soda aisle, then you had the chips and the dry goods aisle. So I diverted down one aisle, paid for my stuff, and I left. And I ran home. I get home, and my mom wakes up, and she was like, what did you get? What did you get from the store? And I was like, just a ham and cheese sandwich. And she was like, well, give me a bite. And I'm like, no, like, I went through hell to get this sandwich. Like, I need to enjoy this. And I didn't feel that I could tell her because, what would be good, what good would it come of it? Telling her what happened, because at that, telling her what happened, I'll end up restricting my freedom because it meant you don't need to go outside, or, you need to stay on the porch. Like, my freedom would get restricted because of what someone else done to me. So she began to eat my sub, and I'm getting so upset. Not because I didn't want to share with my mom, because I feel like something is being taken away from me again. Like, wow, I just got violated, and now the only thing I wanted today was this sub. And I'm sitting here watching my mom eat it, and she's enjoying, this my sub sandwich. And she eats it, and then she gives me money, and she says, go get you another one. I'm going to eat this one. And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, you just don't know. I can't go. And she's like, girl, go get you another sandwich. And I'm like, no, I cannot go. And she, fortunately, unknowingly tells me to go back to the store to get another sandwich. And I hesitantly went to get another sandwich. And this time I went another way, thinking it would be better. So, where I live in the neighborhood, there's a big school that you can go one way up Charity Street, or you can go another way up St. Paul and then cut over. And I decided to go up St. Paul and cut over to Baker instead of going up Charity and cutting over to John Street. And at this point, I decided to go this way. And I'm like, okay, good. I don't see anybody. No. I get in the store, and they're still there. And so I go back down the other aisle, and there's some that's there. So I go on the other side, and it's more that's there. And I'm walking through, and they're saying, yeah, she's fat. And I'm hearing fat, and I'm thinking F-A-T. Not in my mind later that I didn't know that they meant PHAT, you know, pretty hips and thighs. Fat, meaning that you're thick, you're shapely. And I believe at the time I would say I was around about 10 or 11 at the time. And I was just out of it. So I'm walking past them. Hopefully they wouldn't do anything at this time in the store. And they did it. They continued to touch me. They couldn't grab me. I mean, their hands were so fast, and I just couldn't take it. And I'm fighting them off, and I'm fighting them off until I get into the back of the store, to the deli area, to order my sandwich. And I start to cry. And as many of you know, that these stores are owned by, you know, people from, you know, Saudi Arabia, you know, Pakistan. So I began to cry. And there was this one, I think he had the crush on me for the longest time, and he used to call me China, you know, I guess because he couldn't pronounce Trina. And he was like, "Why do you cry?" And I just started to cry. And I just felt bad. And he said, "You want more pickles?" And I just couldn't tell anybody why I was hurting on the inside. Like, I'm being violated out in the open. I'm being touched. I don't want to be touched like this. This does not feel good. I don't want this. And I think at that moment, that's when he really saw what was going on. And he came from behind the counter and he shooed the guys out of the store. And I just stood there and cried and cried and cried. And I think it was at that point that one of my siblings' friends came into the store, and they saw me, and they was like, "I'm gonna walk you home." They didn't know what was going on. They just knew I was crying. But this guy in the store knew what was going on. No one said anything. And I took the sandwich and I went home. And when I got home, you know, my mom is yelling, "Why are you crying? Why are you crying?" And I'm just like, well, all I could say is, "You just made me go back. You just made me go back." And I really couldn't explain to her what went on, that I was touched, you know, by this group of guys, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. And I'm yelling at my mom, you know, because I'm angry with her. I'm displacing my anger to her. It's not her fault. I just couldn't articulate and explain to her why at that moment I was in so much pain. And I didn't eat my sandwich. I didn't at all. And that was actually the beginning of my my eating disorder. We used to laugh that how many black girls in the projects have an eating disorder. Yeah, I didn't eat because I no longer wanted to be fat. In my head, I'm thinking FAT. It didn't take me until years later to know that it was PHAT. So I didn't want to be fat anymore. So I felt if I was no longer fat, then I would no longer be touched inappropriately by my peers. So that was the first time.